I think we've got to this stage in what we call the truth movement, where a lot of us, we notice that there's so much news that that it has to go beyond that. It has to go beyond the research that we've already put in. It has to go beyond the conclusions. We notice a lot of the people who are newly, say, waking up, come in and saying, have you heard about this and have you heard about that? And you think, yeah, there's a lot to learn. But at some point, there's so many problems to look at that you could spend all the time just looking at the problems and not even thinking about a solution, let alone applying the solution. And often as well, another thing that I've noticed that I wanted to point out is, often people will look at the failures and problems too much. And you can be trying to talk to somebody about solutions and explain answers and things, and they'll constantly come back at you with, yeah, but this, and yeah, but there's that, and for sure, you can always find problems. You can always find things that will go wrong, things that will fail. There's accidents will happen. A meteor, an asteroid may hit the planet, and then the plan won't work, or we die. There's a lot of unavoidable things in life. So, you can be pessimistic or optimistic. But the thing is, if you want to reach a goal, if you want to be happy in life and stuff, then just focusing on the mistakes, on the problems, on the potential dangers, just focusing only on that doesn't reveal the solutions. If we base our premise, if our success is based on a premise of failure, then I don't think the path will reveal itself. Now, I'm not saying, because this is one of the hardest things, especially in a world where we're already taught to be blinded by television and taught what to think. We begin to then see the world differently and start to think that that's how the world really is. But as we know, in this state of waking up, when we say wake up, there's a lot of different processes, a lot of different waking up phases. We wake within a dream, within a dream, within a dream, and you all know that. You all know that you've had an epiphany, you've seen something new, you've awoken to a brand new idea, a new way of seeing life. Everything looks different. And you think, now I'm awake, now I'm awake. But then a few months or years later, something happens, and then you're forced again to see the world yet again differently. Maybe even more in focus or more magnified in detail. But then suddenly you realise that you wasn't fully awake before. Now you're more awake than before, but now you know by experience that you've woken up many times, and so you will wake up many times more. And it's very easy, I think, in this climate, this media climate of mainstream media and independent media and underground media, to think that there's two stories and one of them's false and one of them's true, when in actual fact there's a million stories and nobody kind of knows them all. So we're all walking through mystery, we're all walking into the unknown at the same now time. We're all now, right here now. And let's not let ourselves be tricked into being distracted, diverted. Diversion is the biggest weapon, really. The biggest military tactic is to divert the enemy and to confuse the enemy. Confusion is the thing. Confuse the enemy, create a diversion. And so you have to ask yourself, from what is a diversion being created? And what is the confusion? Because obviously, if there's something so precious that they need to create a diversion from it, then it must be very simple. It's like when I say to you, don't don't look in this box, don't look in this box, then you would want to look in that box. Ever so simple, but if I just create a massive amount of confusion around that box, nobody even notices the silly little box. You know, our rights, our human rights, you know, there's a concept of human rights that we've written just so, you know, so that we can remember maybe, or so that we can learn. But human rights are inherent. We don't even need to know the word human or the word rights to have those rights. You know, the rights to breathe, the rights to be happy, all of these different rights and stuff. You know, we have those. But somehow, you know, and it's so obvious that we have these simple, inherent, natural rights, but we've been diverted from those rights. We've been confused about those rights. We've been confused about our language, confused about church, and confused about government. And we're in a total state of confusion. And in essence, when it's all so confusing, somewhere there's something very simple within that. Something that's creating a diversion around that. You know, there's an empty space where no one's looking because they're all confused with everything else. It's a whirlwind of confusion, and it drags us in. We get excited about arguing about things. We get superstitious about the way the world works and stuff. Logic and reason and clarity are just, you know, so logical and reasonable. Alright then, I'm going to end this one here. It's just a bit of a talk anyway, just some thoughts. We all know it's simple. We all know it's as simple as a child can understand. And so, as an adult, it's about realising that now we have the authority as an adult, we can go back to the logic or the laws that we inherited as children and see if we can still use those laws. Rights, concepts, ideas, you know, spirit. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. See you later. Cheerio.